Hi, this is Kathleen from Bailey Academy, mom of 5, homeschooling 3 of them, ages 11, 13, and 17. Today I need to go through my shelf that has children's chapter books, like these on them. I have too many, and, well, there's never too many books, but you know what I mean. Don't have enough room for them all, and some of them we've already read and don't like or need to pass on. Some of them we haven't read, but I don't think we're going to anymore, and some of them just... I'm not sure. So I wanted to go through them. Thought I'd do it with you guys so that I could talk about the books and if I recommend them or not. And also, I know, I like to see book hauls. So this is not exactly a book haul because I didn't just get these books, but same idea. So that is what I'm going to share. Okay, so this may be a two-part video. If it ends up being too long, we'll see. So the first books that I want to go through are the ones that are in sets. And so I have almost a full set of the C.S. Lewis Chronicles of Narnia books. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So I'm just missing 5, apparently. And although at some point I would like them to all be the same, what do you call it, style, but they're not, but that's okay. So all of these I just recently got, and so I'm definitely going to be keeping these. So we'll read them at some point. So keeping those for sure. So those move over here. And I have a, you can't see it, but the table's full of books. Oh, sorry. Moved ya. Okay, I have my daughter, oldest daughter I'm homeschooling, is reading Uglies by Scott Westerfield. I thought it was Field. Apparently it's Feld. And so I got the collector's set for free from someone on Facebook that I don't even know. So she's reading Uglies, but I have the rest of the books in case she likes them and wants to finish them. So I'll be keeping those for now. And if we don't end up liking the book, we may keep it for my next daughter. Not that boys can't read the book, but my son barely can stand fiction, let alone something about that. I also have, it's not in here, but the One and Only Bob and the One and Only Ivan set. So the Bob one's not in here. But I'll be keeping that for sure. We haven't read the Bob one. It's on my list to do for read-alouds this year, although we have not been doing good with read-alouds this year, so I don't know if we'll get to it this year, but we'll try. It's on the list anyway, so that's why it's not with the rest of the books. There's only a couple other books that might be more than one in the set, but I don't have them together. I know I'm trying to get, where is it? I thought I had one here. I'm trying to think of what it's called. Oh, Anna Green Gables. I'm trying to get the set of Anna Green Gables books. I only have 2 of them because I just sort of get them from like little free libraries or free book or like cheap book sales or whatever. So like I don't have a set yet. So I think I have 2 of them. So whenever I find those, I'll be keeping those because I'm trying to amass the set of them. Okay, I'm just going to do the rest from what's in front of me. Talk a little bit about the book, if I read it or not, what it's about, but like in a brief way so this doesn't take 4 hours. Okay, so this is book Iceberg, Jennifer A. Nielsen. We got this one for review. We have not read it yet. It is about the Titanic. And I was originally going to read it when we learned about the Titanic. Changed my mind because I read more about it and it seemed a bit scary for my kids at that age. But I don't know yet if I want to just keep it for when they're older. It's fiction, but based on what happened with the Titanic. So this is why I have so many books. It's so hard to decide. I don't want to get rid of it, and then I wanted to read it with them, but I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is put aside the ones I know I want to keep, put aside the ones I know I don't want to keep, and then put the maybes together and go through them again afterwards. So since this is such a like brand new, good copy of the book, and I was interested myself. I mean, I could read it myself. I don't really read fiction except for with the kids for school, but I might read it myself and see how scary it is and then go from there. Plus my kids are getting older every year. So I'm going to put this in the maybe because I'm not sure yet. Next book I have next to me is A Midnight Clear, Selected Family Christmas Stories by Katherine Patterson, which I just occurred to me. Isn't that the same author? Isn't that the same author as, what are they called? No, I'm thinking of something else, maybe. I don't know. Katherine Patterson. We saved this for a Christmas read, and I have not read it yet. I believe, yeah, she's a 2-time Newbery medalist. I can't think of which book is hers, though. What does it say? I'm sure you guys are out there shouting at me which book she writes. But I cannot think of it at the moment, so. That's not helpful. It doesn't tell me the name of the books. Anyway, I don't know, because I'm thinking I'm not going to keep this. So many Christmas stories, one I've never heard of, I'm not really too worried about. So I'm going to put this in the get rid of pile. Maniac McGee, Jerry Spinelli. I picked this up these are all either free or really cheap, or for review. I picked this one up because I had heard about it and heard that it was a good book to read to your kids, but I have not actually read it myself. I guess it says he wasn't born with the name Maniac McGee. His real name was Jeffrey Lionel McGee. When his parents died and his life changed, so did his name. So I just gotta find out how upsetting it is and what age group it's for, to see if it's something I would want to read to kids. But I like that it's not too long. Like, it's, you know, medium thick, but it's also big words. So I think I'll keep this as one to read. Plus, I should mention that I've only made one so far, but I was making some, what are they called? Book studies to put on Teachers Pay Teachers. I only did one so far, the Skunk and Badger book, which I don't have anymore, I don't think. I think I passed it on already. I'm not sure. Anyway, I want to make more, so I want to make ones for, like, commonly read books, so Maniac McGee is one of them. So that is a keep. This one, Prairie Evers, I picked up at a free library thing. Is this the one that she's, like, a little bit different than all the other kids? They stare at her. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was homeschooled. And now her family's moved north and she has to attend school for the first time. And she feels like her chickens, cooped up and subject to the pecking order. So even though my kids are not planning to go back to school, I thought that this would be interesting. So this one we'll keep as one to read. Okay, so this one is called The Monument by Gary Paulson. You may recognize his name. He's popular for The Hatchet, but he has lots of other books too. So this is The Monument. I picked this one up because I thought it'd be more like, not that there's certain books boys like necessarily, but it's got it's got like heavy in the, there's lots of males in the book, so I thought my son might like it, but it turns out he just hates all fiction, so. It all begins when Rocky follows Mick's drum around town while he sketches its people, animals, and graveyard. Mick has been commissioned by Rocky's Kansas town to create a memorial to their war dead. As Rocky learns to respect Mick and his talents, he helps her to develop her own artistic sensibilities. But the townspeople see things in Mick's drawings that they don't want to know or accept about themselves. Can Mick help them accept one monument that will be meaningful to everyone? I don't know. I think since it's so short, I would just read it and find out if I want to keep it. So maybe I'll keep a pile of to read. I just don't want 220 because I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm gonna make a pile of to read and then see. Mr. Popper's Penguins. We already read this. I got this one when I knew I wanted to get this one because I'd seen the Jim Carrey movie. Did not realize how much different the book was. But we read the book and then watched the movie to see the differences. And I think we decided we liked the book better. I can't remember now. But it was a great book, but I don't need to keep it. We can pass it on. This Little Pig was one that I picked up thinking of my daughter, my youngest daughter. It seemed like a typical children's story that doesn't have anything scary in it or too much scary in it, and it's about animals, and she loves animals. So I was keeping this as a reader for her. we haven't really been doing readers, and I don't know if I'm going to continue doing readers, but it would make a good reader. I think I need to know. It doesn't seem like there's anything, scary on it. I think I'll read it. Decide. Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. You've probably heard of this one. It's fiction, but it's the story of slavery. Cassie's family and how they're treated just because they're black. It was written in 70s, I believe. And it's a really good, thinking book, although your child has to be old enough to comprehend it. I had my high schooler read it, even though it's more like a middle grade, upper elementary book, and she was really upset by the way people were treated. So it really depends on how sensitive your child is as well. I had originally kept it to have my son read, but I don't know if I want them to or not. I think I want to keep it for now, so I'm going to add it to the keep pile. I'm going very slow. I was trying to go fast. The Magician's Elephant by Kate DiCamillo. The one that they made, it says made a Netflix film out of it. I got this one for review. We never actually got around to reading it, but it sounded interesting. It's almost like a mystery. So I think we'll definitely keep this to try reading. Leaving the Log House by Ainsley Manson. This one just seemed interesting. It says, far from home, Teresa stays with relatives in the big city, where she spends her days at the hospital preparing to walk on her first prosthetic leg. Her teenage brother Tom stays with her for the first weekend. To her surprise, he joins her in playing elaborate games with two old dolls named Tape and Curly. Tom leaves to work on a nearby farm, and Teresa's bereft, even more so when he doesn't call or answer her letters. When she finally reaches out to him, she ends up pushing him farther away. Will she find a way to confront her brother and master her new leg so she can go home in time for the holidays? So I think that'd be good for reading about... Well, you could be doing it for anything, really, but I mean, if you're reading about, disabilities or hardships, might be a good one. I'd like to keep that and use it. I feel like a sneeze coming. Excuse me. Most of the books in here are ones I picked up for free or cheap to use with my homeschool, but a few of them are the few fiction books that not fiction. I have some fiction books that are adult fiction somewhere else that I used to read and I wanted to keep just in case I go back to them. But there's a couple of children or teen or whatever, or read in school fiction that I decided to keep. So my favorite book is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I had my son read this. I will have my younger daughter read this eventually, if not grade 6, then a little bit higher. Maybe a little bit higher because of the one part in it. But I definitely not get rid of this, even if I wasn't using my homeschool, because it's my favorite book. I also have The Great Gatsby. I picked this up to have my high schooler do, then ended up changing my mind and decided to do more modern books this year. But I don't know yet that I may or may not want to use this, so I'm not getting rid of this right at the moment. Gentle Ben. I picked this up because it's really cute. I love the animal, the bear. Walt Morey, about the Alaskan wilderness. And so I think I need to read this or learn more about it at least to make sure it's going to be nothing too scary, because I have sensitive readers. But I think it will be fine. I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to look more into it, so I'm going to keep that one. Here's one of the Anna Green Gables books that I was talking about, so I'm going to keep that. Hotel for Dogs, Lois Duncan. So this one we had started reading and then reading with my daughter and ended up not finishing. Mostly just not because it was a bad book or anything. I don't know, we would just sort of stopped reading, I guess. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I don't really care about it. Front Country. This is a thicker book, one that we got for review, and so we have not picked it up. It is more. Takes place in Montana, and talks about a month of backcountry camping before she starts high school. So it's for middle school to high school kind of age. Talking about college prep classes, things like that, friendships, campers, wilderness, heartbreak. So this is one I need to look more into, but it might be good for when they're older. At the moment, I do not want to get rid of this, so I'm going to keep it. The Firefly Summer is also one I got, and it's also on the thicker side. I started reading it because I was going to do a book study for it. But I'm not sure if I want to start with this or start with books that are more well known, because that makes more sense. But I did start reading it, so I'm going to add it to the pile of to read. Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna keep it. All the books that I want to do studies for, I'm gonna keep at least until I do the study. From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frank Wheeler. I read this when I was younger, not too young, but like younger, and it was, cute and whatever. And I've heard lots of good stories about it, so I definitely want to do it with my kids. It's not real scary or anything like that. E.L. Koningsberg, I'm sure I'm mangling her name here. I think it's a she. Anyway, this is a modern classic, it says. I definitely want to do this with the kids, so I'm keeping that. The Family Under the Bridge. Okay, so we did The Family Under the Bridge once already, and then we were going to do it again, and we didn't end up doing it again. If my daughter wants to keep it for her own set of books, that's fine. Otherwise, I don't need it. We already read it. So, Each Little Bird That Sings, Deborah Wiles, National Book Award finalist. I'm not familiar with this book. It was just a children's book, so I grabbed it. It says here, Comfort Snowberger is an explorer, a recipe tester, and a funeral reporter. Writing about dead people might seem like a strange hobby for a 10-year-old, but Comfort grew up in a funeral home, so she knows how to deal with death. Or at least she thinks she does, until great-great-aunt Florentine drops dead just like that. Everything starts going wrong. Suddenly, Comfort's sniveling, whiny cousin Peach won't leave her alone, and her best friend Declaration, whom she could always count on before, has turned downright mean. So now, even if it means missing the most important funeral of her life, all Comfort really wants to do is sit in her closet with her dog Dismay and hide. But then something happens that makes Comfort realize how strong she really is, all of her own. The names in this story, I gotta tell you, here's something else. I think I need to read this book and find out what's going on with the story and see if it's something I really want to read with the kids. So, I'm going to put that in the read pile. Now, I'm just trying to figure out, because my piles are kind of getting a little mixed up here. So, I'm going to move some books over here. Over here. And these ones over here. Okay. Now, my keep books are a little bit more with each other. Alright, I got The Night Garden, which reminds me of that stupid cartoon for kids that used to be on. Polly Horvath, National Book Award winner. The book itself, though, looks kind of cool. I love the style. It's a little bit bigger one. It's 12-year-old Franny and her parents, Sina and old Tom, enjoy a quiet life at their farm on Vancouver Island. Canadian book, yay! Franny writes, Sina sculpts, and old Tom tends to their many gardens. All but the ancient and mysterious night garden, which he keeps locked up tight because it's so dangerous. Their peaceful life is turned upside down when their neighbor, Crying Alice, drops off her children while she goes to investigate their father's strange behavior at the military base where he's stationed. Franny begrudgingly takes Wilfred, and Zebediah under her wing until Zebediah starts receiving letters from his father that he won't share with his siblings. She and Winifred join forces to try to find where he's hidden them, hoping to discover what Fixing Bob could be up to. When they do, it is so much worse than they expected, and they must decide whether or not to call upon the magic of the night garden to save the day. Not entirely sure what that means, but sounds interesting. I need to look more into it to see if it's how scary it is. Otherwise, sounds like an awesome book to read. Keeping that one. The Girl Who Drank the Moon, Kelly Barnhill. Was this the one we did read? No, we did not read this one. I'm thinking of the other Girl Moon one. This one sounded interesting, but a bit older for my kids and a little bit kind of scary. So this would probably be one that I would, even though it's longer, that I might have to read or at least look into well. So I think since it's so long, I will look into it well, keep it for now, and see if we want to use it. I should have another one of this summer, but The Girls of Many Lands, this one's India, Neela Victory Song. So I found these, and then, like I said, I have another one somewhere in these piles, and I like the idea of reading about girls from other places, so I definitely want to keep this, even though we still haven't gotten around to it. I want to actually get around to it. keeping that. Oh, wait a minute, 20 minutes almost. Okay, Lord of the Flies. This is one of the ones that I kept that was actually my book. I've seen so many things online about, some people are like, oh, it's a classic, you have to read it in school. We always read it in school. And other people are like, why would you have your kids read that? It's horrible. I don't know what I want to do with it, but it's at least my book, my copy of it that I want to keep for sure. This one's called A Likely Place, Paula Fox. She's won other Newbery Awards. I have Stone Fox. No, not Stone Fox. I don't know. I am confused. Because her name's Paula Flock. Yeah, I think I'm getting them mixed up. Oh, this has a bookmark in it. Okay. So it's very small. There's one thing Lewis has enough of. It's good advice from his overprotective parents. When his parents go away for a week, they leave him in the care of Mrs. Fitchlow, a tall, freckle-faced, free-spirited woman who stands on her head and eats carrot pudding to see better in the dark. Miss Fitchlow lets Lewis explore the neighborhood park for the first time alone, and there he meets Mr. Madruga, a retired Spanish shoemaker. The two become friends and together find ways to show everyone that they can think for themselves. I thought this was kind of interesting because we're kind of overprotective a little bit. As ages 8 to 12 should be a quick read for me too. It's like a kid's reader, so the words are really big. I'll read it real quick and just make sure it's cute enough and funny enough to actually bother with. So that's the to read pile. Miss Spitfire Reaching Helen Keller. This is one I just bought for my high schooler to use for this year for her, this semester specifically. So obviously I'm not getting rid of this one. But basically it's a fiction book, but based on the idea of like Anne Sullivan's, Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. If you don't know the story, Google it. But Anne Sullivan's, her backstory, I guess. So, how about that? So definitely keeping that one. Another one I just bought for this semester is Catalyst by Laurie House Anderson. She's more famous for Speak, but I wanted one that was less upsetting, so I looked it up, and this is the one that was less upsetting. So this is the one that my high schoolers are going to read this year. If you want to know more about any of the books that I am not sharing, especially the ones that I'm using for high school, let me know in the comments. Jacob Have I Loved by Catherine Patterson. I think that was the girl I was thinking of before, wasn't that? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this is one that I don't even remember what it's about, but I know that I read it when I used to read young adult fiction. And so I need to find out more about it and double check if it's something I would want anyone to read. But I don't think I need to read it. I think I just need to maybe look it up. So I will keep it for now. Oh, copyright 1930. Oh, that's a song. Never mind. I thought that they were saying the book was that old. Never mind. 1980. So still old because I'm old. 1980. Keeping that for now. Okay, Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. That's the same author as The Giver. This was another one of my favorite books, and I already read it and studied it as a family. So I don't think we'll be using it again because we did it with all the kids, and so I think I'll pass this on to another homeschooling family. Alright, I have Nim's Island by Wendy Orr. I don't think I actually watched the movie with my daughter. We watched the movie, right?
No.
We read the book? We read the book.
Good book, though.
Okay, so we already read it, so if she wants to keep it, she can keep it. I don't need to keep it. I got Lois Duncan, News for Dogs. This is the sequel to Hotel for Dogs, the one that I said that we read a little bit of and never finished. So again, unless she wants it herself, I don't need it. This one is Next Teller, a book of Canadian storytelling. So this is one that it's like a bunch of small stories, short stories. That's the word I was looking for. And I like that they're all Canadian, but we may use them. I need to read it more. I need to find out if they're even interesting. If they're interesting, we may read aloud some of them. If they're not, then I'll just pass it on. So I'm going to put that in the to read pile. Okay, this video is getting a little long. Okay. I got Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardner. That's the one I was getting confused about for a second. Really small, really skinny. Talking about the National Dog Sled Race. So I wanted to do something for that. And most of the pages have pictures, so it's definitely a short read. So whatever, I'm keeping that one. Actually, I'm going to put that in the to read book because I want to know if a dog dies, we like to omit it or not read it. So I'm going to put that in the to read pile to find out if that's a problem. Speaking of dogs, I have Shiloh by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. I might even have 2 copies of this. I'm not entirely sure. And this was one that I read and liked, but I don't remember.
Pretty sure I read that book a little bit.
This is the one that, we stopped because the person was going to be mistreated, or the dog was going to be mistreated, or something like that, I think. I don't know. I'm going to put this in the read and double check. I have Son of Black Stallion, which means I have Black Stallion around here somewhere, I believe. And I didn't realize, I found out recently that there's a whole bunch more of them. I'd have no idea if they're even something that my kids would like. So I would need to read more or learn more about Black Stallion first, and then figure out if I even want to have the second one. So I'm going to put that, I guess I'll put it in to read. And read Black Stallion, or some of it anyway, and like kind of see if it's what I want. Okay. I can't have to record too much longer because it's gonna cut me off, and then I'll make a second part. This is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, both of the books combined. That's why it's a little thicker. And I have been wanting to read this to the kids, so I'm absolutely keeping that. A few more books and then I'll cut it off. Tales from China. This one I bought specifically brand new on Amazon, so it wasn't cheap. Too cheap. For my son who's doing ancient China, but he wants to focus more on history and less on the myth of it. But we may keep it for doing mythology. I don't know yet, so that's in my don't know pile. Alright, I'm going to stop there. If you, like I said, want to know more about any of the books that I already talked about, especially if it was one I didn't read the back for, let me know, and I can talk more about it, especially if it's one we already read. And stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming up shortly after this one is posted.